Hey, what's going on, y'all? Back with another one. Back with another one. This is Elam Part 2 from Elam. Yes, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right into it. We ain't on no BS or whatever, but make sure everything's right. Elam Part 2. We're gonna talk about the Assyrians. Now, we talked about the Assyrians on the Sumer part, right? And this is going to show that I'm not messing around with this information. But shouts out to the Real History www.com. As always, provide me this information. Yes, this is modern Iran, where it was originally located. Modern Iran is what it's called today, but Elam is where it was sitting right there. You get the idea in the map and picture. Now, we're not going to get into this information. And yes, he said the non-blacks, like talking about the other groups of people, be spewing nonsense about the Assyrians. We're going to get past that. That's not important. The important is what we're talking about. And that's it. Okay. We're going to say middle of Elam period. We're talking about the middle of the Elam period. We're going to talk about the Assyrians and everybody else in the culture, right? The Elam period, it says, after 2 centuries of which sources reveal nothing. The middle of the Elam period opened with the rise and power of the um as Azanite dynasty, right? Yes, okay. It's the Anzanite dynasty. Okay, the power of the Anazanite dynasty in the land probably laid in the mountains northeast of the northeast of Kuzhistan, of Kuzhistan, northeast Kuzhistan, but the political expansion under fourth king of the line. We're gonna say line of Kuma. Yeah, Kum. We're gonna call him Kum. We don't pronounce the rest of that. We're gonna forget about that. Of Kum, right? At 1285 BCE, proceed along in his success were commemorated by his assumption of the title, the expander of the empire, which he was, according to this. Okay, and oh, I can't see that. Hold on, I gotta adjust my mic for just a second. Let me do I have it? I might have it on the phone. Hold on for a minute. I gotta that way so I can look my mic and I could see and read it. It says the pendant of made of the pale blue Caledon card with a picture depicting the Elamite king Shinshak, presenting its daughter of Bar of Yuli, right? But the come from you in the text right reads Shinshak Inshak enlarged the kingdom of the Jasper from the mid part of the Perlia. I took partaken and made, and I placed her in where the Bar Uli, my beloved daughter, I gave it. That's what it says, right? That's like an inscription. The Elamite Goldwark, like a warhawk, like a goldwark, they would say, right? That's what you see. I have it on the phone. Or I can read this, but you know what I'm saying about the symbols and all that. I'm trying my best. Yeah. Just checking on what's going on. Okay. Let me stop for a minute. Okay. He was succeeded by his son Anstashgal, the temporary Salmanasar, the first of Assyria, 1274 BCE. Antash founded the city of Didur Antash, the modern Kogia, Zambiel. In the years of immediately following the Antashgal, the Elam increasingly found itself the real or potential conflict with the rising power of Assyria. The Tukutiki, the Nanturu, the first of Assyria, 1244 BCE, but a campaign in the mountains of the north of Elam. But the Elamites under the Kindin Kurtan, second king after the Untashgal, but to counter with a successful, devastating raid on Babylonia. But the end of the, however, Assyria power seemed to have been too great, but the Assyrian king Tukutiki Natura managed the expanding Assyria control well into Elam territory, but the king Kidian Kuturin faded into the obscurity, and the Anzanite, the Anzanite dynasty came to an end. That's when the Anzanite dynasty came to an end. Okay. But after the short period of the dynastic troubles, with the second half of the Middle Elamite period opened with the reign of the king Shustruk Nahotun, 1160 BCE, but to equally powerful two less impressive kings, followed by the founder of the new dynasty. Their capital was probably Susa. But in this period, Elam became one of the great military powers of the Middle East. That's what they say, right? Still close to Asia and Africa. It's all the same, right? That's what they call Middle East. That's what he said, the so-called. That's what they call it. It was never called that back in the day. It was called the land. But the door was open for them when Assyrian king Tuki uh, Tuki Neruta Neruta died in 1208 BC, but in Assyria fell into the period of internal weakness and a dynastic conflict. But Elam was quick to take advantage of the situation by campaigning extensively into the Dailea River area into the wave heart of Mesopotamia. But Shustruck Nahantu have captured the Babylon, have captured Babylon and carry off to Susa, but a state which was inscribed in the famous law code in Hammurabi, Shishak Inshinshak, brother of the success of Shustruk Nahantu's elder son. But Kutria Nahantu still annexed to take advantage of the Assyrian weakness. But the campaign is far north of the area of modern Kukuk. All right, that's in Assyria. That's what they talking about. Then you see them deporting the people of the Elamite city of Din Shari in 645 BCE. That's what they're doing. And the Babylonian, however, in the second dynasty of Ishin, but the native revolt against the Elamites and Elam had power in central Mesopotamia, but was eventually broken. But the Elamite military empire had began to shrink rapidly. But Nebuchadnezzar the first of Babylonia, the first and 124 BCE, attacked at Elam was just a barely beaten off a second Babylonian attack, but succeed, however, at the whole Elam apparently overrun and ending of the Middle Elam period. And this is when King Nebuchadnezzar was standard at this time. So yeah, this is the period. And then you got the palace of the Anshirambal deporting the people of Elam. And we talked about this in part one as well, about these people moving 640 BC, the same thing, they moving. And we're talking about the Neo-Elamite period. The Neo-Elamite period is after the middle, and this is a different year. The Assyrian king Ashurbanipal, as you see right now, the Assyrians were dangerous back in the day. They was fighting Babylonian. This is mixed cultures going to war, like you see today in other cultures. You see it all the time, and you expect people just to do whatever. So a long period of darkness separates the Middle and the Neo-Elamite period. In 742 BCE, but a certain Huban Mugash in the mention in the King Elam, the land appears to have been divided into two separate principalities, with the central power fairly weak. But the next 100 years witnessed the constant attempts of Elamites, usually in alliance with Babylon, and thwart to the content constant pressures of the Assyrian expansion. Yeah, Assyria's expansion. They trying to expand at this time. Yeah, expansion. But the times were successful with the policies, both militarily and diplomatically. I mean, excuse me, diplomatically. Yeah, militarily and diplomatically put on the whole. They were forced to give away the increased Assyrian power. Local Elamite dynastic troubles were from time to time, but compounded by both Assyrian and Babylonian interference. All the while, they said all the while the Assyrian army whittled away at the Elamite power and an influence to the Lursistan, and these are the internal and external pressures result into the near total collapse of any meaningful central authority in Elam. But in a series of campaigning between 692 to 600 to 39 BCE, an effort to clean up the political and diplomatic mess that became the chronic headache of the Assyrians and the Ashurbanipal and armies and other destroyed Susa, pulling down the buildings and looting and souling the land of Elam with salt. And that's what they did, and they did damage. Them Syrians were no joke. It's a different people. And then Ashur Aral Panapal or something like that. It's a mouthful. I won't say Palace of Ash, right? The king of Syria at the time, right? And this is 660 to 650 BCE, scenes depicting the aftermath of the Battle of Tila Tuba and Elam. A lot of people try to say this ain't real. No, this is real. That happened. They got evidence to prove that. That actually happened. That's the battles at the time. They got skulls to prove it. And you see the pictures right here, of course, and all the others. And that's it. Incomplete limestone well relief. Elamites are shown in the upper registry, and the prisoners being flayed alive are flayed alive are shown in the second register. Prisoners being tortured in front of the ambassadors are shown in the third registry. A row of guards from registries and chariot and spare horses and register, and then chariots, and then soldiers march along the river of Elia, in which had floated in bodies of men and horses and chariots in the sixth registry. But the relief has been Confirming inscription. Yeah, they destroyed them, as you can tell, and aftermath of Anabal's victory over the Elamites on the banks of the river, right up in here, and the defeat that actually happened. They got evidence and relics of people, anthropologies, and all that stuff. And there's the picking of all the stuff is written. I'm not gonna read all this. That's a waste of time of reading. I read this before on live streams. It just talks about what he to him afterwards in the battle and all that stuff. That's part of the culture that happened. And it's a lot of reading. I'm gonna skip all this. I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna read what's in here, and there's a scene depicting the aftermath of the battle. That's all I'm gonna show you, and that's it. I'm not gonna read what's in the inscriptions of it because I did it on live stream. That makes it longer because I'm trying to shorten it in time constraints. So it is what it is. And Elamite Matu celebrate the victories of harps and all that, and the floats, and view two and all that. He did some damage, bro. Like he destroyed these people, like and they was prisoners of war, conflict, musicians. They show you celebrate music, harps, and all that, musicians, all this stuff. And that shows the Canaan. You see this on Canaan too, on this page, on this website too, as well. They show these people, the Hebrews, and all this other stuff. Shouts out to Elder having it on his old videos y'all can watch. And talks about the Assyrians. Assyrians were dirty, bro. They were barbaric people. They don't exist no more. Assyrian really close up Hebrews captives. Yeah. Some of the I'll say 9 to 10 tribes got captured. They went up to Assyria. All tribes are different. We scroll past the other tortures, and we don't need it. Just an idea, the figures. So, and that's it. Okay, I got that percentage. I'm good. See how much time I got. Okay, 14 minutes. Okay, good, 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 good. So it's basically, we're just showing you all, we ain't gonna read all that because that takes too long. We're just gonna get through the point. Syrian scribes counting the heads of defeated enemies and probably Edomites reign of the Astro Anapal. the 685 BCE to 627 BCE. This is a violent time. This is when warfare was something, and this is the idea what these people would look like. That's if you see these pictures that they're giving you the modern black no longer uses the fillet with their natural hair times use color. That's what they use. Yes, some of them do use color in other cultures, but yeah, that's the idea what the Assyrian people and other people would look like Elam and all that. But not all of them look like this. They have different features, but dark. It's just an idea. Shouts to this person right here. He's just giving you an idea. It's not the actual people, but it's an idea what they will have. Everybody has their own hairstyle. It depends on the people. So it's complicated because you can't go by the ancient what they look like because we got to see an actual what they really look like. And they have some type of DNA thing and just it's a whole nother story. This technology, you see what they really look like, you'd be like, damn, that's what they look like. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about the Medes. It's modern Iran, right? And that's what they would be said, and where the Medes and all this connected, the media or median people. This is the idea what they show you on the map, right? Just a second, I'm gonna read this. Hold on. All right. By the mid ninth century BCE, the two new groups of the people appeared in Elam. These are the Medes and the Media, and the Persians of Persia, they will say, right? But it's Persians, right? Of the two, Medes were the more widespread. They're more widespread from an Assyrian point of view, the Assyrian point of view, and the more important group, the Medes were fierce warriors. They were more important. They were fierce warriors and skilled horse breeders. They were skilled horse breeders and fierce warriors. They say, right? And they were the first to organize an independent tribe. Yeah, an independent tribe. However, they changed under the tribal of uh, Chief Dosis, Decius, or how you want to say Decius, as succeeded the unyielding the un he succeeded in uniting of the Medes tribes. But the kingdom of Media, the Persians, right, continued their migration southward into an area southwestern Elam that was now called Fars. They was known as called Fars right here. That's what they're showing you right here, right? Fars. And made their home. So Elamites went to what they would call the land Fars. That's what they are. And this is the Medes period. This is the Medes. They were like I said, skillful warriors and horse breeders, right? And that's basically what they were. And Persia was right down the south, which called they modern day Iran, right? Iranians or Iranians, or Iranians, how you want to say it. And you see the picture of old boy right here, horse spirit. That's the Medes and all that right here. You get an idea what's going on, right? Who were the Medes and Persians? Okay, and give you an idea introduction. Who's the Medes and Persians? How long we got? Okay, we got 18 minutes. Okay, we good on this. Okay. Yeah, I got enough battery life. Okay. As to the case with the ancient black civilizations, whites have spent their time producing falsehoods and nonsense in the attempt to make their blah blah blah. I don't know. Okay, the whites. I won't skip that to investigate. Okay, so the Persians and the Medes are first mentioned in the records of the Assyrian king Shalmaneser III, 859 to 824 BCE. But in these records, Aswa, along with the Mati and the Median, are the first mentioned in the inhabitant area of Lake Urmia. Yes, excuse me, Lake Urmia, which is salt, which is which is the which is salt is which is a salt lake, and they say which is northwest Iran, and near Iran's border with Turkey. Lake Matunius, an old name of Lake Irma the second, was the center of the Manzanine kingdom, but the exact identity of Pruswa is yet to determine. But from a linguistic viewpoint of the word matches the old Persian Parsia, right? Parsa, right? But note Though the Persians and the Medes would later form into unified people, they did not begin as such. They were originally separate kingdoms. They were separate kingdoms. That's facts. They were separate kingdoms at the time. Then they unified later on and became a huge empire, a huge superpower. That's like you see in some countries are like that today. In certain African countries, Asian countries, they're not really empire. They're many, but what you got today, United States is the modern day of these cultures that they done predate way back in the day, like you see now. Other people try to mimic the past. It usually don't work in modern guerrilla warfare. So, but that's a whole nother story on that. I'm getting off topic. Approximately 250 years previous in the Sea People, the conglomerations of the Mediterranean warriors and their families seeking new homes. But the Sea People included the Peleocet Turca Minoans. We talked about Minoans recently on this channel, like a couple months back. Crete and all them, yeah, the Philistines, and they have South. Okay, this is where they get to the part from the names, and then Palestine, of course, such and such. It's a long read. I'm just skimming through because I think I read this. Okay, but they never was really such. There was really there was never really such thing as a Hittite empire, but the name Hittite comes from the entry of the King James Bible 1611 CE, or they say AD, but CE. And here, and for some unknown reason, white people decide to point this out and try to make it uh, undoubtedly Hattic Kingdom in Anatolia. But there's a fact that we cannot identify what was the new kingdom that the Sea People formed. There's no doubt that the Sea People did he display some native Anatolian people who exactly were, and who exactly were, and the another unknown, there was a logical possibility that the some sea people remain in Anatolia and settled there. Perhaps some continue eastward. There's a circumstantial evidence that to support the scenario, and in all points to the Persians as a part of the sea people who continue into Elam. This is factual because a lot of that, the Hittite Empire is probably man made. And I said this years ago on a pre record, and there's some factual truth. He said he backed that up with different places. If you talk about the sea people, the Colossians, we talked about that in Egypt, the sea people, how they go to Europe and all that. I'm not going to get into that. That's a long read. But you get the idea about the Persian Empire and all these stuffs, how they use and stuff like that. Then the Medes. This is a very long read. This just explains the expand what I read above. It's no need. It's just basically part two is basically, the Medes and the Persians, all that. But we'll get into the cultural stuff, practices to Anatolia. Okay, the ancient Anatolian burial practice, a defleshing the body and then placing the bones into a container burial of Catal and Hukak circa 7,500 BCE, but in the unique practice only by two layered cultures of principles among they are Persians of at the Zoroastrian religion. But their practice was to place the body where it may be eaten by scavenged birds and animals, or whether to be bare bones and then placed in a container for a burial. In Bombay, India, known as Mumbai now. At the time, he calls it Bombay, India, but known as Mumbai, what it's called now. In the Parsis and Indian descent of Persian refugees from Arab Turk invasions was called maintain tolerance of silence, which is our high circular towers, but the dead are carried in the top, but then the funeral and servants placed in them, and both surrounding in central pit. But after hovering, the vultures have stripped the flesh from the bones, that the bones are gathered into a center pit. That's what happened. That was back in the day, and then the Hebrews and all this stuff. He mentioned that. We ain't gonna get into that. Then you got the Sphinx, you got the religion, the Great Sphinx, and all that. Pretty much it. And then the Eurasians, of course, talks about that, the Scythians and all that. Talks about the groups. I'm skimmed through the reading. I don't need it because it's a long read. Part two is just basically we're just talking about Persians and the right now. So this is it for part two. Not much to speak on, but basically you get an idea of the middle Elamite period. And this is something that we all see all the time, right? I talked about this before on live streams. No need to dabble into the things that we need to, but Elam Part II is basically, I'm going to talk about Part 3 and 4 and 5 sooner or later. I'm going to end the series real soon, but Part 2 is basically the Assyrians, Elam invading the kings and all that stuff. And then it's a long culture to learn. Elam has a vast empire, and you know how that ended. And then we talk about other cultures expand where they at now, and other people's where they at now. So it's pretty much interesting. So I'm gonna stop sharing and just off here. I hope y'all enjoy it. I skimmed through some of the reasons to say time constraints. I'm not trying to bore y'all to death with it because that's a long read. A lot of information I did on live stream talk about Elam in long live streams. I've done that. I might revisit some of the things that people want to discussion, not a debate, but a discussion about these people. And I can do that, but I don't feel like doing it on a live stream like that. But it depends on what the subject is. You get the links, you see it, or whatever. So basically, I'm just doing this on the pre-record from people that's new to my channel or new, that I'm trying to sum up what I learned from my past videos where I said that, and I had pictures on a computer that I found on this website and then downloaded. And next thing you know, I put it in my pre-records and show you pictures of what's what and use scripture. I did that already. Now I'm seeing where I got it from. There's a source and there's other source to back it up. So with that, until next time, shalom to the people of Israel, to the Gentiles. Until next time, I'll see y'all soon. I'm out.